beginning of last year, with patch 1.18, IGG introduced the Iconic Weapon 2 update, which gave heroes that were already good a much more enhanced skill set, and some heroes that were previously unrecognized grew into much better heroes, and some of them even entered the meta that we have today. So in this video, I'll be going over the top 5 Iconic Weapon 600 skills. This is relevant whether you are free to play, a low spender, or a whale. So let's get into it with number 5 first. And we have the lovely Set, whose Iconic Weapon 600 effect enhances the effectiveness of her ultimate by giving her an Ankh at the very beginning of battle, so that it's an instant resurrection for any heroes that have a tendency to die very quickly at the very beginning of the battle. I'm talking like Susanu here. If he charges into the wrong person, it's great as an emergency revival. So let's go on to number 4.
And at number 4 we have Leonitis, who is one of, if not the best, tanks in the game. Not only does he perform his tank role bolstered by his front-facing attack damage reduction, but he also provides protection to other heroes. He also provides healing to other heroes, and he also provides crowd control by knocking down the enemy heroes. And with his Iconic Weapon 600 effect, it greatly increases his direct healing to other heroes with that 5% of max HP healing per soldier that is brought into the battlefield. And when he does his ultimate, bringing in 5 cavalrymen, that's 25% max HP healing to every hero that's alive on the battlefield. So that is a great 600 skill effect. Now we move on to number 3. And at number 3, we have Susanu, who's already a great DPS hero recommended to beginning players to start with. And his Iconic Weapon 600 effect just makes his DPS all the much more better. So now that he has the 600 effect, his ultimate won't miss, and it will be a guaranteed critical hit. So take that, and you have almost a guaranteed kill on whichever hero he uses it on. Great for sniping those backline heroes that normally are protected by the tanks up front. Alright, and with that, let's go on to number 2. At number 2, we have Western Queen. So Western Queen is very crucial to all modes of the game: PvE, bosses, events, and PvP. Of course, she's going to be everywhere, so you definitely depending on her stat boosting effects for whichever DPS hero she's supporting. And with her 600 effects, doubling those, it's absolutely necessary to have her if you want to be competing on the high level in the game. So that's Western Queen for you. Let's move on to our last one, number 1. And at number 1, we have Oda Nobunaga. You probably guessed it. So Oda Nobunaga, as we saw in Crusades, as we saw in PvE with bosses, and he also appears in PvP, Oda is an absolute necessary 600 at this point. And if anybody asks, who should I work on for a UR hero as my first Iconic Weapon 600, you will most definitely get Oda Nobunaga as your answer, because his ultimate, which improves his Demon Lord damage, it's that important to all aspects of the game. So I know I went over the top 5 Iconic Weapon 600 skill effects, but I also want to go over some honorable mentions. Let's start with the first one, Medusa. So Medusa, even though she hasn't been in the meta since maybe the beginning of this game, she's still very useful with her Iconic Weapon 600 in certain situations, such as Void Portal battles when you are the attacker, and Dragon Troves when you are the attacker. So her Iconic Weapon 600 makes it so that her Petrifying Glare immediately strikes the enemy hero across from her at the start of the battle. This Iconic Weapon 600 skill effect takes priority over everything. I'm talking priority over Faust's swapping, over Susanu's charge, over Morrigan's Meat Fate, so you can stop Meat Fate from even applying to Lucifer or Amaterasu or Oda Nobunaga. It's very useful for that, but it's limited to those situations where you know exactly how you're going to be lining Medusa up. The next honorable mention is Prometheus, and his Iconic Weapon 600 skill effect is like Leonitis's, where it turns his tinders that he distributes from his ultimate into not just a more damaging mechanism for enemy heroes, but a healing one for allied heroes. And although he does double the amount, 10% of max HP, the problem is that the tinders that he distributes from his ultimate are randomly distributed, and when it heals an allied hero, it only heals that specific hero, whereas Leonitis, his soldiers that come in can heal not just one, but multiple or all allied heroes for, even though it's lesser for 5% max HP, it heals a lot more. So Prometheus, for that reason, is up there as an honorable mention. Has a healing effect, but it's random. Next one is Chiron, and this will be our last one. So with Chiron, he's already a very scary DPS unit, especially when you face him in PvP or any scaled settings, but with his Iconic Weapon 600 effect, he will have the Soul of Sagittarius Phantom already out, ready to dish out auto attack damage. So if he wasn't already bad enough for you to face in those settings that I mentioned, he just gets worse with Iconic Weapon 600 skill. So there you have it, the 3 honorable mentions that I want to go through. And that's just it for this Iconic Weapon 600 skill effect video. Now keep in mind, all of these picks that I had for the top 5 and the honorable mentions are of my own opinion and just based on my experience. I didn't do any sort of quantitative analysis like I do with my tier list, so you may disagree with these, and that's fine. I'm just expressing what I feel are the best ones that have worked for me. Well, thank you for watching this video. I'll see you later.